And welcome to the stream, everyone. We're live again. We're gonna play this week without Babski. She won't be joining us for today. Besides that, I welcome Violet Hermit, Cybermama, Forgotten Dreams, and Shannon with us. Welcome to the Unbound. We're gonna play a tabletop role-playing game. I would like everyone to keep in mind that we are an adult cast of people, so sometimes it's not guaranteed and will certainly not be always, but it does mean that the themes can get a bit darker when the story asks for that. So feel free to take a break when you need it. That is very important. Keep your own health in mind. And besides that, well, enjoy it. And I'm going to give the instant camera to Cybermama for a recap of last week.
Oh boy. Okay, guys. Last week we started with the seamstress. Amaru and Alalu were talking about the dress. The priest headed back to the temple. Alalu felt a cold shiver, but she didn't know just exactly what it was. She moved around with a bolt of cloth, and also Amaru felt the cold shiver, and he didn't figure out what it was, so we really don't know. Drama. But she picked the scary bolt of cloth, of course. I don't know why. They went back to the ziggurat to get clean clothing for him, and ran into Baru, which is the one that I'm sorry, no, they didn't run into Baru. They ran into someone else. Sorry. We moved to the pits, and it was basically, blood sport place. Sargon arrived with Issa. He ended up towards the middle. He noticed Ashara on Artist's shoulders, and they went ahead and joined him. Not long after I came along, and Alalu and Amaru.
If it gets too confusing, I can always try and hop in.
They let a lot of people into the rink, and I ended up betting on the Rhino. The Rhino won, yay! But unfortunate for the poor guys that were in the pit. They all got killed.
Trampled and gored.
Unfortunately, this did make the little girl sick, which I predicted. Let's see. Alalu and Amaru did meet Moran, which is the guy that I had offered to pay for the assassination of Theophar. And there was some awkwardness there at the gate. After the situation at the stadium was over, there was some weird kind of light in the sky. A lot of people thought it was like a sign from the gods. Some people thought it was like an omen from the gods. I just thought it was something extremely weird, obviously supernatural, possibly done by some sort of being. I definitely did not necessarily think it was of this plane, of this earth. I rushed back to do some research on it. Everybody else rushed to the ziggurat. When they got there and they grouped together and got inside, they ended up overhearing a conversation between the king and a lot of the priests that they had no business overhearing, almost getting caught in the process and running off with information. Ardith got Ashara home. There was a bit of a tiff argument with Ashara's father, where we find out the intricacies behind their relationship. The fact that the father is in love with Ardith and they're in a relationship, and that is why the mother is such a words I can't use. And there's some tension there, some serious tension there, and I'm not sure poor Ardith is going to do a situation he's not stuck in. Sargon ends up eventually showing up at the university because he got a job, and I stumble in by mistake into a situation where I'm trying to extricate myself, thinking that I was being all stealthy but failed. So now I'm standing in the room with Sargon and these bunch of hired killers, and we're supposed to talk about the guy, and Alalu and Amaru are still at the ziggurat doing ziggurat things. That's where we ended.
So, sign from the gods, supposedly, potentially, allegedly, happened in the sky at night. There was some sneaking around the ziggurat, there was some sneaking around the university, and Miran sort of walked in on that. Basically inviting you inside to be, or to perhaps play a bigger role in the whole thing that is about to transpire within 5 days. We're going to start by zooming in on that particular room in the University of, I want to say Jwadi, but it's Ajwad. Yep. As Miran utters the word that the Ofar must die. Then his gaze falls on Sargon as he pulls out a folded piece of papyrus and hands it to you. And then bringing a candle over to your position.
I'll look over it and read it.
When you open it, you see a seal, and the seal instantly you recognize as the seal of General Shakir. And the letter says very few words, except for when Miran hands this to you, it means that the king consents to these actions. And Miran offers you a candle to burn the paper, you assume.
Oh yeah, burn it.
You came highly recommended, I would dare say.
Nice to see you again.
So nice to see you. I'm a little confused. Why is Milk Lady here outside of the fact that she got caught outside of the door?
Well, in a sense, she's already involved.
I'm paying for it.
The benefactor. Very well.
My university.
She's not the only benefactor to what is to transpire.
Really?
As in, the division that has been caused under the Ofat is not only questionable, it's damaging for, well, everyone. And it has to come to an end.
But
Yes, well, politics aside, what is the plan?
We also need not only him, but we need those closest to him that are helping prop him up.
Which is very true. We don't have the exact
because if you cut the head off the snake and another one just pops in its place, that doesn't help us.
Indeed, we do not need the proverbial Hydra to happen. That would be more than just unfortunate, that would be devastating.
And do you have a list of individuals, then?
It's something we are working on right now, but the unfortunate thing is that within the following of the Ofat, we're not entirely sure who follows him by the word and who is willing to cooperate with us. Exactly.
I see.
Which is one of the risks that we wish to diminish in the coming days by gathering more intelligence and setting out a proper plan, as we hope to execute him during the night of the festival of Urat and Manat.
So on a very public stage, you want me to execute him and all of his followers while not getting caught in the same act.
Preferably,
seeing as his followers could be anywhere between 1 to 30 other individuals, that will be very hard.
It would be preferable if all this happened behind stage and not in the public eye. We would like this to happen on the same night as a public appearance, as someone else will appear in his place. Which is the intent.
That does make things easier.
As in, to execute him publicly would surely cause, well, fighting and the necessary or expected violence amongst his followers, which we would prefer not to happen and to be a bit more controlled if we can.
It could be made to look like an omen.
Which is what we're hoping for. We've not heard of the Oracle in quite some time. And this would be one of the first appearances that the Oracle has ever made publicly, but the plan is to actually make the Oracle speak up if we can get to them on time. The unfortunate thing is that the Oracle has not been seen except by the Ofar and some chosen few of his legs in quite some time. We've tried to gain information from some of these legs, but unfortunately it seems that all of their tongues have been removed, making it difficult to get information from them.
Are you also asking me to help you do this job as well? Am I not only being hired for an assassination, but also to get you a meeting with a very, very well-held captive man?
We are looking into the Oracle at this moment. The thing that we would like you to be involved in mainly is the actual execution of the Ofar.
Okay. Good.
We can tell you where he will be at what time, and we can provide a potential escape route with some of the men that are loyal to Shakir.
What does the Ofar have security-wise?
Some loyalists will more than likely be around his quarters. He usually keeps about 2 around.
That's it.
It's something that's also new, ever since a few weeks.
Quick question for the DM. Is there essentially a dedicated guard for the temple? Like, do they have their own order of guards that specifically guard the temple?
No, it's the same guard as guards the rest of the city, so most are under control of the captains that are under control of General Shakir. But you would also think that some of them are mainly kept on the down low, as in this has to stay a secret, so probably very few of them know about this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to do this?
How many days do I have until the festival?
5.
DM question. 5. I could do it. It's going to cost you a lot.
We are prepared for that, and he also
Okay.
looks or glances at Messi.
Okay.
You feel like this is an endeavor you'll do alone, or are you going to recruit others?
No, I'm going to need a team.
We figured as much, so you have 5 days to assemble a team. We will meet the night before the festival here again, and then we will give you all the details that we have.
DM, what about the guys, the rest of the guys that are in the room?
They just stand listening at this moment.
Looking over them, do any of them look particularly capable?
Whether they look capable, that would be an insight.
Oh boy.
Wits, I'm gonna say.
Wits, okay, that's not terrible. It's not terrible. Wits. Insight, this is still terrible. Yeah, no.
They are, both of them are hooded and sort of veiled in the shadows at this moment. It's hard to tell. Their posture seems that of potentially trained individuals, but besides that, no idea.
And what of these two? Assistants to me, or are they for some other machination?
Also, will take care of some of the other loyalists that are true to the Ofar. And also nods at you. It's the man that approached you. Then our other individual here, Ado, you will be in charge of leading the Oracle out onto the Ziggurat, which we hope to get done on time. The unfortunate thing is that we still need more inside men or people in the quarter of Afat and within his flock. And it's hard to figure out who to trust at this time. So we're being cautious, meaning that we're slow on that regard.
It would have been better if you had approached me with this, say, a month ago. I would have had plenty of time, but seeing as we have 5 days,
This
I'll see what
all...
I can...
Well, that would have been wonderful, but I was approached 2 days ago, so...
This morning, actually. DM's gonna say.
Yeah, I was about to say out of character this morning.
Oh, this morning. Sorry.
We decided to move very quickly on this particular endeavor. Let's say that the decision to this has only fallen yesterday. Contacting the right people, we are moving as fast as we can. Without revealing ourselves, we hope.
Outside of the personal guards that'll be outside of the Ofar's room, how many guards are we going to be looking at the festival entirely?
At the festival entirely, a large portion of the guard has been assigned to the temple district for the festivities, due to the potential ruckus that will be made. But Shakir will provide the right men to overlook the Ofar's quarters and the quarter of Ofat. There will be a handful of them that will be assigned nearby the Ofar's personal quarters that will provide you with safe passage out after the deed is done. However,
Do we know what captain is going to be over the guards that are assigned to his quarters?
If I'm not mistaken, the man that will be assigned their captain is someone you're familiar with. Nabu Nasir.
Captain Naboo. Naturally. He's the perfect man for it.
Besides him, most of the other guards will not be aware of the exact plans and of what exactly is going on. So we're trying to avoid possible detection by the Ofar's loyalists.
Very well. Any contacts you currently have for individuals that can give us access to not only a map, but also any of the more restricted hallways within the ziggurat and the temple district, passageways that would allow us to go unseen.
I figured...
Would I have that?
Sorry?
Would I have that?
You personally? That would be potentially, due to...
Would I have the plans for all that somewhere in the university library?
You think you might have those in the university, yes. So, the plans ever since it has been built.
Okay. So I say, I believe I have those plans. I'll be right back. And I go off to go get those plans.
You go off and go start searching for those plans. As you go searching for that, roll me an investigation intelligence and see if you can produce what you are looking for.
Do I get any modifiers for the library?
Let me double check your character sheet. What was your specialty?
Keen eyesight? No, that's awareness.
Awareness, stealth, occultist, signs of aura. Mythological creatures is for investigation. This is not a mythological creature. This is more a history thing. So it would be without modifiers. Let me check your features.
Okay. All right.
You know your libraries well. You know exactly where to head for this. So you head deeper into the university as these others are sort of waiting in that room for you. While in that room, Sargon, do you have any more questions for Meran at this point?
Can I use my lucky reroll?
You want a complete reroll on that?
What you can do is you can
willpower,
use
potentially.
Your willpower, and you can reroll too.
That might be more interesting.
Okay.
The two
Because
that
if you use lucky, it'll force you to reroll the whole thing.
Okay. I'll use my willpower and I'll reroll too.
Alright, so slash one of your willpowers for that. Oh, by the way, everyone regain one willpower for the start of the session. So that's a 5th success in there. Alright. So you still know exactly where to head within the library and you're headed there. As in, this is going to be part of some deeper archives. But you remember that after the ziggurat was built, that the architects stored something in your library. In the archives of the university. Meanwhile, in the room...
So, there was one of the priests, when we peeked in on the conversation between the king, General Shakir, and all them at the ziggurat, who looked like he was extremely upset and on the verge of screaming at the Ophar.
That's correct.
Do I remember his name, or do I know his name?
Whoops. For some reason, this is in the wrong place. But you, the one that you heard should be in here, but he's in the list, apparently. I am sorry.
Miran.
Miran wasn't
Miran?
the exact one.
Miran.
Okay.
But you do remember that it was his boss that was rather unhappy. Let me double check something.
I have in my notes that, according to Lalu, with all the successes, it looks like Miran was biting his tongue to stop from shouting at him.
It was
and
Ramar.
Akma Yagati was defending the Ophar, but not necessarily agreeing with him. But yeah, the only one who looked outly angry was Miran.
It was Ramar Ethi that was actually the one that was sort of trying to tone himself down. It was Agmar Ugoti who seemed to agree with the point of war, but defensive, or seemed to defend his points, but wasn't necessarily like. Akmar seemed to be on the fence as to where he would fall. But Rama Ethi was like the one that actually outspoke right against Ofar Amose.
Ramar Ethi. Okay.
He is the Rama.
So I'll bring that up and say, do we know where Ramar Ethi currently sits?
He's the one that guides my hand.
Well, your guide should be a tad bit more careful during his public meetings with the Ofat, General Shakir, and the King. His emotions do show quite plainly.
What do you mean? Meran seems confused at this.
Tonight, before I was after actually I was approached by our friend here, and I'll point over to the one that approached me. Went ahead and had a little look in on what everybody was discussing up at the top of the ziggurat, and your boss was very much in the mood to get into a shouting match, but managed to hold his tongue.
I'm guessing that the, thing in the sky of this evening did not improve his position at the ziggurat. No, I would imagine that the Ofar took it as a sign of Ofat.
Oh, naturally.
But seeing as you were
Still
able to
pushing
listen
his-
in on that particular conversation, that means that you are probably the right man for this job. Shakir was right to put you forward. Meanwhile, deeper in the library, Missy, or deeper in the university, you eventually find the room that you are looking for, and you try to open it and realize that this place hasn't been opened in quite some time and that it's locked.
I don't have the keys.
Do you have every single key of the university on you in person at all times?
I should have a master key.
If you have, don't know if there's such a thing in this time period yet. That is a bit too advanced.
Wrong time period.
Oh, wrong time period? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So I guess I go get the caretaker or the person that is normally over this area that would have.
All right. So you go searching for those people in particular. Groundskeepers in this time period, they don't necessarily stay at the university themselves. they stay at home where they live with their family, which is, in this case, away from the actual university itself.
Okay, I'll lockpick it.
All right. In your own university, which is indeed unfortunate, but roll me a legerdemain or larceny, sorry, that would be larceny wits for this. Difficulty is only going to be 2.
Larceny wit?
Yes.
Okay.
Only 1 success. So you can use your luck to completely re-roll, or you can use another willpower to re-roll up to 3.
I'll use my luck.
All right.
Also, Seth DM.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yep.
You unlock that door, and as you unlock it and you open it, you found yourself in this remote, dusty, small room that hasn't seen daylight in ages. Well, in this case, moonlight, as the door opens. And there's stacks and stacks of papyrus rolls in here and tablets. And in the middle of this room is a large, low to the ground table, more like a platform than anything else. And on top of that is basically a miniature of the ziggurat itself, which was made by the architects as a guideline as how to build it, as blueprints aren't really a thing yet in this time period. And this clay model is supposed to be an exact copy, or the exact plans, of the actual ziggurat.
Okay. It might not be wise to necessarily move the model. It's probably a better idea to bring them to the model.
Probably.
So, I go ahead and go back to the room and tell them that I found the model. I need you guys to follow me.
A model, you say?
Yes. The exact replica model.
That is interesting. Shall we have a look, gentlemen?
Yes, we shall. And I'll begin making my way.
Right.
To follow.
As you follow your way, I'm going to put this a bit less loud, I think. As in, we're not in the city centre right now. You follow your way, and you all follow Messi basically to this small room somewhere on the other side of the university, at the edge of this small courtyard. Find yourselves inside, and this place is dusty and cobwebbed, and in the middle of this chamber sits this clay model of the ziggurat that's about waist high in the middle.
So it's from the floor up, it's not on the table.
It's on a very, very low table, more like a platform than anything else. And in total it comes to your, almost to your hips, kind of, in height.
Okay. Any light sources around here? Yeah.
Right. You light up the room, and this shadow start basically covering the light and shadow start covering this ziggurat. You can actually see that it is indeed a replica of the ziggurat, and it actually includes the tower that is next to the river, and the aqueduct as well. Meran just mentions, so this is the original design then?
Yes.
Well, this might show us more than the actual maps that we would have provided. And he sort of goes in and tries to take off a corner basically, and carefully removes it. And as he carefully removes the corner, you can actually see the inside of the ziggurat.
Now that is useful. Okay, what corner does he take off?
Like the southwest corner.
Okay.
So it takes a part of the main stairs with it as it faces south.
What portion of the ziggurat is our target staying in?
He's staying north of the ziggurat. So he's not staying in the ziggurat itself. The actual quarter around it is not part of this miniature. The only part that sticks out is the actual aqueduct.
And the aqueduct, does it run parallel with the compound that he is in?
No, the aqueduct goes slightly eastwards, and eventually it goes more southwards as well. Whereas the quarter of Ofat is in the north of the temple quarter.
Gotcha. Right. So where on this will our festival be taking place?
Well, the main ceremony will be south of the main entrance, and he points along the stairs that goes southwards from the ziggurat. And further down south would be the river eventually. It says the festivities will begin at the ziggurat itself and on the square, and from there it will process. The procession will follow. That goes to the river bank itself, and there the river will be the main point of interest for the ceremonies, as we are hoping for the river to bless us again.
Of course. All right. But presumably when he does arrive to at least present himself at the festivities and talk to the people, he will come from the ziggurat itself. Yes. Presumably, yes.
He will have to make his way
where
up.
Would he want to enter?
He will enter the ziggurat on the north side, more than likely, which is closest to his personal quarters.
Any buildings between his personal quarters and the ziggurat? Any alleyways? Any?
From as far as I can tell, and he walks to the north side of the miniature and starts drawing buildings in the dust on the north side of it. As in, his quarters are not necessarily the closest to the ziggurat, but he will more than likely use this route, and he sort of points out a few of the streets that actually do pass quite a few alleys as well.
In years past, how busy have these streets been? Have most of the individuals taken to going towards the festival, and only guards remain, or do the workers still stay?
In most cases, most people and most activity will be found on the south side of the ziggurat. Most people will want to be on the square when it starts.
Good. To do some looking around in this area to see where would be the best place to attack him should he make it that far. I think it would be better if we attacked him, possibly even still at his compound.
I'm going to need a check for you, which is basically recognizing a position on a map. So I'm not entirely sure what to ask for that. Perhaps would Streetwise come in play for that? That's more like a social thing.
Streetwise could definitely come into play for it. Maybe...
I would say intelligence or wits, although due to the nature of this, I would be more inclined to wits. And maybe survival wits?
Yeah, I would say either Streetwise or survival, but
you can choose between those two, because I feel like both of them fit for this.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Well. I might be using the luck here. We'll see.
Good.
I think I'll keep that. I think I'll keep that.
You look at the ziggurat and at the bit of road map that has been roughly drawn out on the north side of it, or what represents the north side. This is on the side where you snuck up earlier. And you recognize one of the potential buildings, although the shape is probably a bit off, As in, that is the dormitory where our friend Ameru is staying at, with Elalu at this time.
Interesting. I'll point that out and say, does he pass fairly close to here?
More than likely, considering that the easiest access to the ziggurat from where he comes goes by there.
See a wry smile just cross Sargon's lips as he goes, Good, very good.
I see a plan forming.
Well then.
No need to further inform me.
Yes. Well, this has been a very enlightening discussion, and also I feel this map might be underutilized. Maybe, perhaps open up these rooms some more in the future.
I have never done espionage before.
Perhaps we should meet in this room coming up in the future.
Yes, definitely.
Would that be possible, Missy?
I can arrange it, yeah. It's not a problem.
Thank you.
Do you want me to have it dusted and cleaned?
Don't think that's necessary, per se. The less people...
That draws attention.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll just make sure to get the key next time I had to lockpick the daggone thing.
That is good. Sargon, I assume that you will be wanting to go and find your team. I'll leave it up to you to...
I have a few individuals on mind, but yes, some scouting will need to be done. For that... I will need a few resources in order to sweeten the deal, as it were.
Okay.
I'm going to need, and I will say the equivalent of like half a dot's worth of resources.
Where do I have it sent?
Meron answers with... Zin, you've already provided the resources, Missy.
Where do I have it sent?
Meron steps back.
Go ahead and have it sent to... Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the name of this place. The Serpent Spirit? Is that what it was called?
That's where you're staying.
Yeah. So what I will tell you is, basically, I will put out a barrel in the back alley behind the Serpent Spirit, and then for you to go ahead and drop that into the barrel. And then I will collect that so that no exchanging of resources is seen.
I'll have it there in 3 hours.
That I need to go get a barrel. This has been very enlightening. Should anything else come up, please feel free to contact me. Perhaps not in the manner that you contacted me before, less skulky, more just... Just have someone walk up to me and say hi and pretend to be a friend.
Meron looks at Arse at that moment, and Arse shrugs. We will make sure of that, Meron replies to you.
Baran, please use the resources that I've already given you to make sure that we can get the rest of the job done and get this man as much information as possible about the additional people that need to be taken care of.
We are certainly on that, Missy. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
I need to
I'm
make my
out of
way.
here.
Good night, Mrs. Missy.
Yeah, I'm going home. Have a long day.
Sargon, what did you say?
I hold the door open. I'm also going to leave. I need to go buy a barrel.
Good luck.
And I'm going to make my way out.
You make your way out, and as the door is shut behind you, you sort of hear some talking on the other side as well.
Actually, you know what? Funnily enough, as I'm leaving the university, do I happen to see any barrels in any alleyways or on the campus grounds at all?
Along the way, make me an awareness wits check, I'm gonna say, as in difficulty 1. Oh, no, wait, let's make 2. Barrels have bands, so that is slightly more... Okay, sure, yes.
4 successes,
You
baby!
find a barrel along the way, not too far from the serpent spirit as well, so it's easily enough to drag it where you want it to be.
I don't even have to... The gods have spoken. And I grab the barrel, and I'll take it. I'll take it to the back of the serpent spirit, and if I can, I'll place it... I'll place it like right up against the wall below my room, so that way I'll probably more than likely hear it from my room if someone drops something in there.
So you manage to do that, and you find your way into the serpent spirit for the rest of your night.
I get my most trusted security guard to take the funds directly from my secret stash in my room and have him take it to the barrel.
So at your...
And I tell him that I need it there within the next hour and a half.
So way sooner than mentioned, but you like the faster this is over, the better. So this transpires at your villa, and you send out this guard. Meanwhile, in the Ofat quarter of the temple, Amaru and I believe Elalu as well, you are staying with Amaru in the dormitory. So, what are you two doing for the rest of the night? Any conversations that are being had?
Well, I'm still unsure if I ever got the chance to actually go and clean myself off from falling face first into the mud.
Yet. Because there's been a lot happening in between.
So probably that is my activity for the evening. Not smelling anymore.
Feeling like actual bathhouse, or feeling more like a quick rinse off and be fine with it?
Probably a quick rinse off today and a bathhouse tomorrow, because a lot's happened today. Right.
So you find yourself some clean clothes and leave those at the ready. You find yourself a bowl of water to sort of wash yourself off real quick. Toss the filthy or dusted clothes aside for the while being, so they can be taken by the legs to be cleaned. And you make your way back into the dormitory, refreshed.
While he was refreshing himself, Alalu would have probably thanked the lovely priests and the people there who you said last episode would have gotten her a cot, and she would have probably asked, just making sure everybody's all right, and also asking, if anybody did get hurt and all that kerfuffle that was going on earlier.
None of us got hurt, and well, you're most welcome. Like, if you're staying with us for the night, as in, it's the least that we can do. Provide a bed. This is one of the priests who tells you this, while the legs are the ones carrying it in.
She'll thank him, and then we'll thank each of the legs as well. And yeah, apart from asking more about what happened, she'll probably just wait for her lovely host to come back.
Amaru, you make your way back into the room when the legs are leaving.
Yeah, is the priest who the legs are with still there?
Yes, he's still in the room.
I imagine I've probably gotten chastised for doing this a few times, so I'll try to, while the priest's not looking, just very thankfully bow to the legs.
Roll me a stealth, either manipulation or wits for this. To sort of hide that you're doing that?
Let's do wits, because then I maybe have a chance of succeeding.
Nice.
Hey.
So You do this at just the moment that he sort of turns his face towards Ilalu, and he doesn't seem to have noticed. And the legs sort of bow back in the mannerisms that they are supposed to, but you can tell on their faces that they appreciate it. Like, they don't get the same respect from everyone else.
Yeah, and once they're gone, I'm gonna look at Alalu and I'm gonna say, well, it's not gonna lie, it's nice they got you a bed. Wasn't looking forward to sleeping on the ground.
You're so sweet to offer, anyhow.
It's not sweetness, it's more duty.
The other priest sort of raises his eyebrow at you, Amaru, and is like, you were planning to sleep on the ground?
Well, if it means someone else gets to sleep on the bed, yes.
Sure, he says, and sort of turns and walks to his own cot, his own bed. You're a weird one sometimes, you know that? As he sits himself down.
I think I'm weird a lot of the times.
Very true.
I've been told so, at least.
Oh. What do you think it meant? The night, the light in the sky.
Well, it's an omen of Ulfat for sure, but whether good or bad, I think it remains to be seen. It seemed powerful, and one does not flex muscles or draw swords if they're pleased, right?
No, that's one way to look at it, that is true. And let's be fair, it doesn't feel like it would be Opat's way to flex to, you know, seduce. It'd be weird.
Well, I don't know. I guess it remains to be seen. After all, we are just here to watch and learn still. And what better way to watch and learn than see how the proper priests deal with this
Maybe.
occurrence?
He looks at Ilalu. You're not in training as a priest or anything, but what do you think, just as a layman, this could mean?
I don't know, it felt awe-inspiring to look at it. I hope it isn't something ominous. Do you think the Oracle would, give a public word on their view of it?
It would be...
Surely they would be able to interpret it better than any of
It
us.
would be wonderful if they could. It's been a while since they've even been seen. They say it's illness.
What have any... A doctor's a thing. Has any... Hasn't... What have they said?
Sorry, repeat that one more time, the question?
I'm just asking if doctors are a thing back again. I just had like a moment.
Diofar is the one that seems to be caring over his health at the time being, and his personal doctor. You can roll me an insight wits, by the way, if you people want. You have to defeat 2.
Yep.
So we need 3 successes.
Insight wits. Well, I've got 5 wits and 2 insight, so that's 3.
3 successes, which is exactly what you need. When he speaks on this, as in him being sick already, he doesn't seem entirely convinced by that story. And when you're asking about who is sort of taking care of the Oracle, and he's mentioning the doctors, he's trying to hide suspicion from his voice, but he's not convinced that things are being done in a way that they should either. But he's really trying to hide this from the fellow other ones in here, basically, from his fellows.
Do you know of any other doctors who could help? I mean, the more the better, right? It's kind of scary to think if we've been ill for so long.
Would love nothing more than to suggest more doctors, but that would be something your father has his say about, and it's not something that we can decide. And he sort of looks at Amaru like, would you dare suggest such a thing?
Well, I'm sure he's getting the best doctors possible, considering Ofar himself is looking after the Oracle.
That is true, and if the Ofar is looking after it, then it's certain that he gets the best treatment possible. He sort of looks at Ilalu. You can tell by his...
Yes, I say unconvincingly.
Yeah, he's also very unconvincing in this, and you see some eyebrows raised behind him as others are trying to go to bed. You know, it might be better if we discuss this fresh-minded in the morning. It's turning late anyway. FYI, it's not that late in your personal opinion, perhaps, but he seems to want to get out of this conversation. As he sort of makes his way to his bed as well and starts removing his sandals to lay down. Good night.
Well,
Good night.
pleasant night.
So, is there anything you still want to whisper while the rest is trying to sleep?
If Alalu has something, sure. Otherwise, I get probably my Hori, trinket I have. I got from some merchants. It's probably something very macabre, like a little skull on a stick or something. I go to sleep with it.
Okay. So you take out that odd bit of creepiness and lay it on your chest like a pharaoh would hold his scepter.
Yeah, exactly.
As you
probably
go to
to
sleep.
sleep unnaturally calm.
Well, Ilalu, that leaves you as the last one up in the dormitory.
She would be very, very, very quietly doing her evening prayer absolutions to Manat. Very quietly, because it always feels rude doing it in this place.
They wouldn't consider it rude, you'd figure, but of course, you don't really want to disturb their sleep anyway. So Amaru, the last thing you hear before falling asleep is this slight murmuring bit of prayer that goes out to Manat. And Ilalu as well manages to find her way to bed after, I assume. As the night falls over the entirety of Aphis and things go dark. Now, Sargon, in the middle of the night you do hear something being dropped off beneath your room, which is a sign for you to get out of bed and collect, I would imagine.
Is there a window that I can look
Yes.
out of? And if I chose to, could I just go through the window?
You could. Would be a bit of a drop, perhaps.
So I'll look out of it for now.
All right. So you hang out of the window? Okay. You hang out of the window waiting for someone to deliver the gold, which they do.
Mm-hmm.
In the darkness below.
Good on ya. And then I'll disappear back into the room, get my cloak and some things, go downstairs, go to the bar, get a drink, talk to whoever is there, tending for the night. Maybe see how a few of the patrons who are still up are doing. And then naturally give like that dance where it's like, oh man, I gotta go to the bathroom and head out.
All right. So there's one little thing when you go for something to drink, as in Naret is still around near the desk where you register to stay the night. When drink, you mean water or
Tea, water, whatever you
I
have.
could make some tea. That wouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah. You have what kind of tea do we have?
I do believe there's cinnamon tea around.
I don't think I've had that in a while, and not since I was a child, so let's go with that.
It does make me feel like I'm sweating
up
from
some-
behind my ears, but...
Exactly, yeah.
And he sort of
No, let's go with that.
stands up and heads into the kitchen. As in, besides that, the room down here is there are some tables to sit and eat at, but not a lot. And it's really calm. It not being a tavern, there's like hardly a soul around.
Okay, fantastic. I'm gonna pop out to the outhouse real quick while you do that.
Yes, sure.
And I'll pop my way out and go collect everything and put it underneath my cloak. Also, please tell me that the tea bags for cinnamon tea looks like cinnamon.
It's just pure crushed cinnamon that is
Unfortunately,
done in a
Missed
stone
opportunity.
cup with boiling hot water, basically.
And here I was expecting the cut out of a little 12-inch dude.
It's not a fairy.
All right.
No.
So I will make my way.
It's not a fairy that is being
Back
chopped up into into tea. No, thankfully. That would be more macabre than the actual trinket
Exactly,
that
yeah.
Amaru has produced.
Make my way back inside. Probably have like one of those late night conversations that you're just like, I got nothing to do. I'm still awake. You're still awake. Let's talk for maybe like an hour or so, and then we'll both head to bed, sort of deal.
So you do into the late little hours and head off to bed as well. And then the night falls, and as morning starts to rise over Arthis, I'm going to ask each and every one of you, one by one, do you have any plans for the day, by any chance? Something that you certainly want to do today? We're going to start with Ilalu and Ameru. Ilalu.
Is Amaru planning to do anything? That will depend on what my
We'll do this
answer is.
differently. So, sun rises, both of you wake up in your room. Some of the other priests are already awake. You see that the legs have already come in to take away the laundry of yesterday. And you both wake as well. Sort of get up, see each other. A bowl of water is presented by one of the legs to clean yourself off with.
Yes, I say, oh, thank you. And would I know this leg's name?
You could. Let's have a quick look at someone. We're gonna call him Boros.
Okay, yeah. I say, oh, thank you, Boros. I really appreciate it.
He nods at you and sort of looks out of the corner of his eye to the other priests who don't seem to be too awake yet, and he nods and says thank you. It's most welcome, and he turns away.
I look at Elalu and I just say, well, it's always kind of sad seeing them.
Why sad? I mean, they're happy to be here. Like, it's such a beautiful place to be.
Are they? I don't know. I honestly can't say I've met too many slaves that are happy to be. But
They're still working for the temple, still, working for the gods in a way.
Amaru.
well, they're working for the men who are working for the gods.
Amaru, quick question. How oblivious to the outside world beyond the temple walls do you think you happen to be? This is real question because I sort of want to know how where Amaru is.
Depends on which part of it. Like he does have family that runs a brothel, so he's not completely
Okay, yeah, no,
oblivious to
indeed.
things.
Particularly in that part, there's places as a slave where you can be way worse off.
Yeah, he knows, but he's still like, you're still a slave.
That is true. So I'm leaving the stage to you again.
Yeah. But, guess it could be worse. They could be working for shadier people. Not to say that there aren't shady priests. And I just start, like, washing my hands and stuff.
And Ilalu, as he says, so you also know the pits are not always volunteers that are fighting. Like, usually they're not volunteers.
Well, how would you make it better?
Well, one would think that a temple that serves the gods should be in totality manned by those that wish to be here. I'm not a politician. I don't know how I would make it happen. I just have feelings.
She smiles because again in her mind it's kind of, as somebody who is completely homeless and wants to work at a temple, they've got it cushy as far as Alalu is concerned right now. So she's like, they want to be here, they're working to stay here. She doesn't see it as a problem. But again, a little bit naive on her part. More than a little bit.
I'm sure some of them would very much love to serve the gods by doing more than scrubbing shit.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll get a chance one day.
I squint, thinking most of them won't.
It's not completely unheard of, but it's rare.
Yeah.
So, zooming out from the temple where this conversation is taking place, we're going to go into the serpent's spirit, where Sargon, you also wake up in your room, having collected the money of Messi. What does your day look like, or how does the start of your day appear?
The start of my day, well, it would look a lot different if Ardeth was with us today, but seeing as Ardeth is not with us today, it's going to look rather drab. I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to get me some breakfast. Whatever that breakfast may be.
Right.
And then I am going to, after breakfast, spend at least half an hour to an hour with Zutu.
So, those are your plans for this morning. You make your way downstairs for breakfast, you go and spend some time with Zutu, you perhaps take him out for a ride in the morning, along the riverside or along the inner sea. Meanwhile, at Messi's place. Messi, you came home last night, ordered this delivery, probably had a bit of a concern around what all transpired. What does your morning look like?
After having light fruit breakfast and packing some herbs and things for my trip, I have to go to the bank because all of my discretionary funds just went out the door last night.
Yes.
So
you're looking to go to the vault and see Isarutun or Isa.
Just say Isa. It's a lot simpler on you, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I have to go get some money to pay for this guide and this other guy that I've paid for besides my security guard in order to go out to the mountains and check out whatever this thing is. I mean, and I know the big bad is not happening for 5 days, so I got time.
All right. So after your breakfast, you also make your way into the city and towards the temple district. I'm gonna call a break there for a little bit, and we'll see every single one of you in about 15 minutes. So thank you for joining us, and see you in a short break.
See you
Bye.
soon.
And we're back in that case. Hello again, everyone. So, morning has broken over Arfis, and our party members or our group of people have all separately woken up in their respective area. Messi, as you make your way outside of your villa over the courtyard, roll me a occult wits check. And you can add an extra dice to that for your science speciality.
I'd like to do a
Willpower.
willpower.
Willpower can make you reroll
Reroll
up to
of
3
3 of
dice.
those. Okay.
Two extra successes, so a total of 5 successes. As you cross your courtyard, and also not being the worst botanist, like, you have your own garden with your own special herbs and everything. Making your way across the courtyard, you notice something is that between some of the tiles, in some places, the tiles seem to have sort of split open a bit between them. And there's growth coming from between some of the tiles, and they are starting to sprout these tiny, tiny little white flowers.
What is that? I go to inspect the flower to figure out what is it.
They are very tiny white little flowers that are sprouting from between the tiles in some places.
Okay, I'm gonna take a sample of it and take it back to my little area where I can use my magnifying glass to try to figure out what this thing is.
Alright.
Because that's very unusual. That shouldn't be happening.
Normally your courtyard is very well kept by the servants of the house. So, yeah, either they missed this or...
I don't think so. This is odd.
You take this back to your study, which is close to your roof garden thingy, I would say. Like your botany garden.
Have I ever seen any plant like this one before?
As you are looking into that, well, you had 5 successes, so no. You don't know what sort of flower this is.
That's unusual. Does it smell, or does it give off any type of taste, or what is it?
Awareness
What is it?
wits, please. Two successes. When it comes to smell, it smells almost like honey, and the taste is also a bit honey sugarish like.
This?
And the flowers are like really tiny. We're talking like 1/2 centimeter.
I'm gonna go into my library and see if I can find something, any kind of reference to this.
All right.
Because these things sprouted overnight.
As far as you are aware, or you didn't pay attention to them yesterday, but this is the first time that you've noticed them.
Doubtful. I'm also gonna talk to the staff to find out whether or not they were there yesterday.
So you go into, let's say you go into the kitchen where usually some of your staff is around, They sort of instantly sort of stand up and pay respect as you enter.
I'd like to talk to someone about the path. I found these unusual tiny little flowers, and I've never seen them before. I could swear they weren't here yesterday. Have you ever seen these?
Ro is responsible for the courtyard, and someone looks over at another, and you see this guy almost going pale, like, yes, I usually take care of the courtyard. Is something wrong?
Have you ever seen these before?
And he comes closer to have a look at them. No, mistress, I've not.
So they weren't there yesterday, correct?
No, and I'm sure I did. I have not seen them, no.
Yes, this isn't your fault, but I would like you to go outside and gather them all and bring them into my apothecary area, please.
Yes, my lady, this very instant. And he sort of scuffles his way outside and immediately. That came. I don't know where that came from. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oops. Yeah, okay, that can happen. Coffee, people.
We'll just assume it nervously came from the
he was so nervous
groundskeeper
about potentially not doing his job right that came out of him.
Right.
I'm sorry. There we go. So yeah, you go back to your apothecary as well, and to your library with your books, specifically the botany books, I'm gonna assume.
Yes.
So going over your botany books, make me again an occult wits with the +1, please.
Okay. Sorry.
One success.
No.
Do you want to do anything with that roll?
I hate to do this. I'm gonna willpower again. So /R 3d10.
Which is 6, so one more success, 2 successes. Going through all of your botany books, you don't seem to find anything that seems to relate to this flower in any way. I believe now you have used 2 or 3 willpower in total. Use the half slashes, because I see you've used aggravated damage. You don't want that.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine, but yeah, that when it becomes an X, it's way worse.
Sorry, I hit it by
No,
mistake.
that's fine. So you used 3 willpower. You recovered 1 at the start of the session, so 2 willpower damage total. Okay, good. No, you don't seem to find anything that seems to relate to this particular flower.
Okay, I am going to start looking through my books that deal with Eora and Earth and see whether or not I can find a myth or I'm thinking, since it happened overnight, perhaps it has something to do with that light that was in the sky.
So you start heading to a different section of books. Start reading through, opening scrolls, looking at tablets. And for this I'm going to use the 5 from earlier, because it relates more to that roll. And it doesn't take you very long that Why did that suddenly stop? Okay, sorry, my bad. It doesn't take you very long to come across some references of that her signs shall be brought in the form of nature. Things as in, and you're also like, of course I should have looked here first at that moment, like this is probably going to relate more. And you start going through a few others and eventually you come up on a very old dusty tablet that you acquired at some point that also mentioned her. About... Nothing about flowers growing in the night, but it will be by her honeyed words is something that is repeated in that text. Every single time that she supposedly had the message, it was always in honeyed word, according to that one stone tablet.
I just can't figure out what it means, though. What does it mean for me? What am I... Is it telling me I'm on the right track? She's trying to tell me something.
With the 5 from earlier, considering these are tiny flowers just sprouting on your courtyard rather than, for example, a animal dying at your feet or a bird flying into a wall, that kind of things, you assume that this is slightly more positive.
So I'm doing something right, I just don't know what it is.
That's all that you get.
Okay, instead of going to the bank, I am going to retreat back to the small chapel I have on the other side of my bedroom. I have a small chapel dedicated to Eora that's like hidden in a little room. With like a hidden panel, and I am going to pray.
Alright. So you make your way to your little dedicated shrine, and you begin praying in the comfort of your own home. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go over to the temple again. The most of the other priests have left the dormitories by this time to start attending to their own business of the day. What are you up to, Ilalu and Ameru? Ameru, you have no particular plans for today, as coincidence wants it.
That is true. There is no particular plans. And thusly, I would probably accompany Ilalu if she has any plans.
She probably just kind of scrunch her nose, kind of just dust herself and ask, do you think we should tell Baru about what we overheard?
I think we should ask Isa first. Honestly, the person she was with is kind of scary.
Okay.
Don't want to divulge information that might incur their wrath, so to speak.
Lead the way.
Yeah, I try to find Isa.
So you start making your way to the quarter of Urat, to the vaults where Isa is usually found,
Yes.
and to no one's real surprise, she is at the vaults in the morning. And you see her working behind one of the counters, and she recognizes you. Okay, good morning.
Hello, Miss Isa. We were wondering if we should perhaps let someone know of what we overheard the other night yesterday.
Right, about that. If you do, please don't mention me.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't tell anyone?
I'm just saying, if you tell anyone, I wasn't there.
Point taken. I turn to Lolo and I say, probably best if we don't.
As in... Look, I know it was exciting to do that kind of stuff, but I don't think it was intended for our ears. That's what I mean.
Yes, and I would like to keep mine
Exactly.
firmly on my head.
As in, I do need mine as well. Like, it's my job to be in here, so. And as we're currently not really advancing, yeah, I don't expect to become a hand anytime soon.
Yes. Well, considering how volatile the situation seems, is anything's up on the table.
Right, as in, I would like to, stay out of the potential nasty business. Not that that is going to be possible because I'm dealing with money all day, but, yeah. You get what I mean. All of this
Yes, I
is a bit above my pay grade.
Good. Well, thank you for the advice, and good luck.
You as well.
Doing whatever you do with coins, and I give her finger slings. I don't know.
I have no idea what that is, but to you too.
You're both so cute.
Well, thank you, Ilalu. I'm not sure. I'm gonna get back to my. I'll see you around, she says, and she turns.
Yes, good luck.
And starts making her way into the vault with something.
And as we're walking away, I say, well, I don't think I literally have anything to do today, so is there anything in the temple you would like to see?
Ilalu?
I like to see everything, but...
Roll me a d10,
Huh?
please.
How do you do r/d10?
1d10.
I never remember how you do it. Okay, how do I do it?
It's /r space.
/rd.
There we go. Let me double check. It's 7.
Lucky number?
Sorry? Lucky number.
7.
Continue saying what you were
My
saying.
lucky number. So please.
You're free to continue.
Oh no.
That seems like the worst answer.
Yeah, Alali will just say, I kind of wouldn't mind a tour of everything, but, maybe a little heads up to Baru, because, the stuff he wanted me to do at the festival, talk about not wanting to escalate things. Please?
Yes, sure. Let's go find Baru and deal with it.
Thank you.
So, making your way across the streets of the temple, or the larger temple, back and forth between the districts, you find your way around the ziggurat again to the other side, where I am so terribly sorry. I keep blanking on this. I really have to know these from heart. Where you find yourself in the district of Manat, not too far from the, or somewhere in the shadow of the aqueduct, looking for Baru, and it doesn't take you very long to find him, as you know his usual hangouts around this time in the morning near the temple, and the shrines. You come across him.
Good morning.
Good morning, Amado. Good to see you, as well as you, Ameru.
Yes, a good morning it is, hopefully.
What is wrong, young man?
Elalu, want to take this? Was your idea?
Yeah.
Wait, is something going on?
Discussions. So, is it, she's going to put her hand to her lips.
Right, come with me. And he leads you inside one of the shrines, into the shrine that you are next to, like small temple, and he takes you into an antechamber and sort of closes the door behind all of you. So what is this about? What is going on?
may have overheard things last night that would be good for you to know. And she'll, without naming any other people who were there, as in our group, I mean, she'll let him know. She'll regurgitate what she saw and heard and what she felt was lying and all that jazz.
As you start telling that you were listening in at top of the cigarette, the instinct... Sorry, you did what?
I was just trying to get away from all the scary riots. And that place was safe. And then I heard voices. And then never heard a king.
As you say that, just trying to get away from the scary riot, I'm gonna call for a...
That is true! That is true! That is true!
It is indeed partially true, but I wouldn't say completely, so I am gonna ask for... Because you were doing that, but you broke away from the actual getting away to go and listen in.
Yes, we already did get away from the riots, and then we went snooping.
And then we heard.
Technically. So I'm going to say that is subterfuge manipulation, young lady.
Okay, but Alali wouldn't have thought that was a lie. It's like they were getting away, and then she overheard stuff. That's what she said. So
can you want to bend this into something else? I can tell. Ilala, I do think she's
against
aware,
lying,
though.
and she doesn't feel she's lying. I don't think she is. She's saying.
Yeah, it's still bending the truth, though, and I do think that Ilala would know that this is bending the truth.
Okay, in that case, yeah, she'll just say we were getting, because she wouldn't lie. Okay, she'll just say we were getting away from the riots, and then we overheard stuff, so we went closer to here.
Roll me the subterfuge charisma instead, then.
Charisma what?
Charisma with subterfuge.
Yeah, it's more like she wouldn't lie, and I still don't think that's
3 successes. Good. Now I have another question for you, though. How nervous would she be about telling this to Baru and potentially feeling like she might be lying about this?
That's the thing. I don't think she's lying.
Okay.
That's why she generally doesn't feel she's lying about this.
In that case, we're going to stick with that. Baru doesn't...
She's more kind of worried that this would get him in trouble, but also she'd feel it'd be worse if he didn't know, considering what he wants to do. So, best of two evils in that regard. Right. So she's obviously worried and concerned for him, but yeah, so...
So, when trying to get away, you happen to overhear. It's really not our place to do such things, but is there a reason you're coming to me with this? As in, do you want me to know what was said, or what's got Amaru so excited? Amaru, by the way, roll me a willpower check, please, because you were nervous about this.
Oh, yes. How do I... That's how I... Okay.
Oh, you're fine. You're able to suppress this. I should actually turn this in composure resolve checks, but yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah, what has you bringing this to me, then?
Well, we're talking of... civil uprising and the Oracle not being well and him lying. He was lying about that. And all that. I thought, you should know because you're talking about making statements. And I just want you to know that even his main guy didn't seem to agree with him. And I thought it would be good for you to know.
The thing about the Oracle is that I've also had my personal questions about what it is precisely that is going on.
They're not ill. He's lying about that. I'm certain.
There's more people who are interested in what is going on with the Oracle. besides me and apparently you two, how are you so sure that the Ofat was lying? I'm not saying you are wrong, but how sure are you?
I think he was lying. He just seemed really anxious about it.
It seems strangely coincidental that he would exchange all of the legs taking care of the Oracle recently, and, having their tongues
I thought they were
removed.
missing. Ugh. Tongues.
Yeah, there's more people who share this concern. I can see where you're coming from. Since you two have been skulking
Can
around,
they write?
how would the two of you feel about trying to gather more information about what's going on with the Oracle?
Very nervous, but unable to resist.
It's the nervous part that makes me nervous.
Well, it's, I don't think Ofar would be extremely happy if he found out one of his flock was snooping around.
Here's the other thing, though. If the Ofar noticed you finding out, he would probably assume that it's in his own interest that you're a follower of Ofat. I think you would
Yes.
be the least suspicious one, potentially. If you get caught.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And I
All of this
do
sounds
have
like
a
a very bad idea.
incredible history of getting into trouble for being too curious.
You do this sort of thing more often.
Well, not with the matters of Ofar and stuff, but I can't resist not knowing things, even if they're not important. I just seem to have a mind for wanting to know stuff.
And you've been caught before.
Caught is a strong word. Noticed?
Well, this is a terrible idea, but considering that, you would actually be the perfect person to try and sneak in, since they've noticed this before, at the very least. That you're a curious one. Look, there's more people who are interested in whatever is going on with the Oracle. Including me. And apparently you yourself as well. This means that you want to know what's going on, and you probably want it to be out there, whatever is going on.
Oh, yes, and I imagine with you being, and excuse me if it's not my place to say, but you seem more than a little excited to make a statement with the white peacock feathers.
That is true, and this is exactly why I should not be the one going in there, as in... Also, Ilalu is also known to hang around me a lot, but I'm thankfully not the most outspoken of potential people here. You two seem to get along quite well, right?
I look at Alalu to see what she says, because,
She nods enthusiastically.
apparently,
I'm
yes.
enjoying your
Also,
company.
while you're looking at Ilalu, I want you to roll me an occult wits check, please.
Oh god, is she a demon?
I instantly want to say no, but yeah. 2 successes. When you look at Ilalu, you have the weirdest deja vu. Deja vu of the cold tingle that you had down your spine yesterday in the in the tailor shop with the seamstress. It's not the feeling that repeats, but you are somehow reminded of that for half a second. when looking at her.
Well, anyone else feel this? That?
Sorry, feel what?
Well, sir, must be a draft or something.
Baro just looks at you, raising an eyebrow. Are you sure you're not ill yourself? As in, do you have a fever? And he puts 2 fingers on your forehead.
Oh no, I think I'm quite fine in terms of health.
You don't seem hot. Not like that.
Well, I guess it is decided we shall go and put our necks on the line to nobly snoop around.
You kids do that. And be careful, try not to get caught, as in... Particularly you, Elalu, as in... Amaru getting caught, I think he can get away with it. But of you, I'm not entirely sure how they would respond.
I'll try best not to find out. She'll give Baru a hug and then looks at Amaru.
Well, we've got sneaking to do. And I bow and I start walking away.
Alright, so you open the door again. And you're sort of feeling around as you sort of open the door, and there's no windows in this antechamber. The door is the only way in, and it's not particularly drafty or windy or anything.
Well, that's either a good omen or we are about to die. Oh, no.
You're still feeling a draft? So kind of,
Don't
give him a bit of
it's a draft. Might just be the nerves, considering what we're about to do.
Maybe you should shake it out.
Excuse me, I should what?
My grandma said when you feel like, bad energy or kind of anxious, to kind of just shake all that bad juju out your system.
I start shaking like a very high person on a rave.
The two of you start sort of shaking in the shrine to Manat, or in this little temple to Manat, next to the very shallow pool in the middle. Some of the other priests have a bit of a look at you, and I do imagine Ilalu sort of makes it in a bit of a dance.
Yeah.
Amaru, do you try to dance?
No, I just shake. I shake myself real good, trying to get that bad juju away.
So you're really like trying to shake out the like yesterday the dust out of your clothing,
Yes,
but this time it's the bad
demons.
juju. It's a very odd sight for a few seconds. And as we cut away from that scene right there, we're going back to the fields nearby Apis, where Sargon is riding his Nekadon. Sorry, it's needed half a second again. So his huge lizard creature near the riverbanks and sort of letting it out for the morning, making sure it gets in the necessary exercise. Before returning it to the stable of Claw and Tooth, I believe it was. Where he sort of stables it again, gives it a few pats in the neck before saying goodbye to it. And you have the rest of the day open to you.
Fantastic. With nothing really better to do, I guess I'll go scout the area around the temple district. So that's where I'm headed. I'm just gonna... Sorry, gonna go try and find out what it looks like around that area between the compound and the ziggurat itself.
Alright, you start making your way to the temple complex, and you sort of start familiarizing yourself with the streets and with the quarters of the actual high priest of the Ofat, the actual high priest of Ofat, the Ofar. Start familiarizing yourself with those streets, sort of trying to find your way around the ziggurat to recognize, would you, for example, have to escape from a side entrance or something, that you also know where those streets lead and how to get out. And it's after some time that you are familiarizing yourself with these streets and starting to feel like you get to know them, that you start making your way into the district of Manat, and you start passing by a bit of a temple, and you hear some giggling coming from inside. From a few people that seem slightly amused by something.
Well, I'm just too curious, so I guess I'll poke my head around the corner, Three Stooges style.
You see the shimmy shake on Amaru, and Ilalu sort of dancing next to him.
Are the two of you okay?
Oh, he's just trying to shake off the bad vibes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry? Yeah, I'll come around the corner fully. Bad vibes?
There was a draft in a room where there shouldn't have been a draft, and I think it's a bad omen, but Alalu said that her grandma used to shake things like that off, so we're trying to shake it off.
Well, I bet you're not cold anymore after all that.
No, I'm definitely not cold anymore.
Huh. I've never heard of this solution to a drafty room, but hey, to each their own. Well, it's kind of interesting to run into the two of you either way.
Yes, but we most definitely haven't been saying a word to anyone. Hello.
No inside check needed, he's lying.
Do I even need to make it? Yes.
No.
Amaru, roll me...
well,
yeah,
Just shaking around.
Roll me another willpower check, Amaru. You're good with nerves. I'm gonna have to dish out stress another way.
Yeah.
I'm not good at getting caught because of
Yeah,
that
especially
lying.
with that many successes. So, you've been telling everyone that you've met?
Not a single person.
Somehow I doubt that.
No. I mean, not as in not a single person. I mean, not as in not, comma, a single person. As in we told a single person.
But by the way, Sargon, looking into the temple, there's a few other priests in here as well, and the room is not the most quiet.
Exactly, yeah. I kind of just look around and go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's a fifth one over there.
Morning stroll, morning jog to, keep us warmed up. Let's go.
Yes, perhaps that would be better. And I will begin leading them along to get them as far away from crowds as possible.
As you start leading them out, you hear behind you someone say, "What are you doing?" "Trying to shake the bads off."
Trying
Shake
to
the
what?
bads off. The bad vibes.
That is not the thing!
You shout inside at another priest that starts going in a shake. And he sort of disappointedly drops his arms next to him when you shout that.
Now you've done it. Alright. I'll make my way out.
I told you it works.
300 years later, we've got the Great Church of Epilepsy.
Yes.
So while you're walking, you can talk.
Oh boy.
Less obviously.
So who have you already told in the few hours of light that we have had so far.
We went to check up on some stuff with a priest who
Sure.
was thinking of making a statement against the Ofar through some dancing and dresses during the celebration.
Right, now the shaking is beginning to make more sense. All right.
And he told us to definitely not go and snoop around more.
So he told you to go snoop around more. All right.
Yes, he did.
All right. This individual wants to... Sorry. So this individual is making a statement via dresses and dance.
Well,
and he wants more information on what exactly.
It's very interpretive.
On the Ofar and the fact that the oracle seems to not really be the same as they used to be.
You mean the fact that the oracle has been stuck in essentially his compound the entire time, protected by legs who are not the oracle's previous legs?
Yes, the fact that we don't know if the oracle still is.
And judging by your...
Also, what is Cyber Mama doing? Sorry for asking.
I don't know. Judging by your, how shall I say, how to put this nicely? Lack of awareness when it comes to exactly what is discussed where. How do you plan on doing this without being caught?
I've not yet thought of how.
I see.
I like to think positive, and I'm thinking we're gonna find a way, and you're not gonna get caught, and we'll keep all of our limbs, ears, and tongues attached to us somehow.
I don't think that's how that works. You see, last time you had a riot that was in progress. This time, not so much.
Maybe if we can get enough people to shake off bad vibes, it's gonna be like a riot.
I was about to say, are you trying to plan a flash mob?
Maybe.
Dragon just stops in his tracks.
I forgot about something.
That was like
all right.
60% a joke.
That I didn't feel like one.
We could, more meditations after all night. Kind of get all the bad moods from everybody. We could suggest it. I mean, there's still a few people out there shaking, so start a trend. We absolutely could.
That is plan. Very well. I had a reason for coming, but I've forgotten it now that I've run into you two. What was I doing here? Okay. All right. Do you have any other ideas outside of a flash? Sorry, whatever the equivalent of a flash mob would be in this time period.
Well, try to be sneaky and not make sounds.
Right. Okay. See, I to an extent would be willing to believe in your ability to do that, but then I would worry about the morning after.
That is a fair assessment.
Why morning after?
Because it's the morning after you spied on the message with or I should say a meeting between the king and the high voices, and already you've told one person.
But it was fine.
Sure. Yes, it was fine. Right now you have all limbs and all toes and fingers.
I wiggle my fingers.
They went.
Are you
They're
sure?
on the same side. Yeah, they're on the same side.
They're on the same side. Okay. All right. That is a risk, and I am glad you are willing to take it. You did not mention me in this discussion.
Didn't mention nobody else.
You did
Just
not
one
We did
mention
not mention you to
Issa
anyone
in-
except to Issa, and we did not mention Issa to anyone.
Okay,
Except you now.
fantastic. Sorry?
We did not mention you to anyone but Issa, and Issa to anyone but you.
You guys are
me
there,
and Issa
so
were
it's
both there. That's okay. That's a lot. That's a way of thinking about the situation. Yeah, absolutely.
I said what I saw and heard, not who I was with. There you go.
Perhaps you know what? I know what I was doing today. Perhaps you could give me a tour of the northern districts of the temple. It has been a while since I've been towards the ziggurat, and I'd like a bit of a refresher course, if you wouldn't mind. Amaru, is that what her name was?
Close enough.
Amiru.
Yes, we should
Yes, I know
tour
it's him, but
northern part. Yes.
yes.
Oh,
Isn't that in fact where you were staying?
GM,
yep,
was
it
it?
is where you were staying.
Okay, yeah. Yes, that is the part where we were staying, and where we shall give you a tour. Inconspicuously, and I give a big wink.
Oh boy. No more wings. No
Okay,
more saying the
no-
word
no-
inconspicuously. Just talk normally.
Okay. Normal talking.
As these most inconspicuous three
Yes.
are making their way through the northern part of the temple district of Arthis, I would like to imagine that Ilalo and Sargon are just walking through the streets, and Amaru, after saying this, starts walking in a way that seems almost uncomfortable. Like he is managing to stand out in his walk.
Yes, like when you see someone who's got their hands in their pockets, like very purposefully, and like doesn't remove them and doesn't move. He's like very stiff in his
He
motions.
becomes really stiff in his motions, and it's sort of standing. It's basically like a dad trying to embarrass his children while walking next to them on the street. But yeah, it's showing, and as we see this image of them going through the streets, we're gonna cut back to the shrine that Messi has in her house as she sits praying to the Earth Mother, to Eora. As you sit in prayer, what is this particularly that you pray with? Which ideas? What do you try to correspond or to commune? How is she going about this?
She basically is praying for guidance and direction. To figure out which path is the correct path and what she should be doing next.
So you're going through your prayers, seeking guidance. as it tends to go with prayers, there's no real response coming from the outside world. And you take your time, so you spend like more than a full hour on actual prayers and sort of reconsidering in your own mind what this all could mean, where it might have come from, what the guidance might be, how to find guidance, asking for guidance, and eventually you come to a point where you're like, as in, this is probably enough, like, you're not sure how long more to keep it up at some point. How long would you say that would be before you sort of figure like, it's been enough?
About an hour and a half. Then she's going to eat like a light brunch and head into the city because she does need to go to the bank, but also because she is looking for a sign.
All right. So you make your way out of the manor at some point and start making your way down the streets of the temple district. You go into the most western part of the temple district, where you find the vault and everything. And it doesn't take you long before you spot Issa there.
Oh, hello there.
Ah! Oh, this is almost a déjà vu from yesterday night.
Yeah, I recognize you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You're not the first of yesterday night to come by.
I know that I left quickly after the strange occurrence. I hope you got home all right.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
hope you're
Thank
well.
you. You as well, I hope.
Yeah, I had an interesting night, but I'm whole.
Yeah, interesting indeed. Anyway, I'm taking it you're here for business. What can I help you with?
I just, I'm gonna pull about 80 gold out of my account. I just need some extra funds for the possibility of a trip.
All right.
I'm not really sure if I'm going right now or whether or not I should go later, but I need to have the funds available, and I don't like dredging to the bank.
That makes all the sense. Let me make sure that it's all on paper, and she sort of pulls out a piece of papyrus, starts noting some stuff down, and eventually, after getting your name and everything and making sure that it's you, she goes into the vault and eventually comes out with your funds and hands them to you.
Thank you.
There we are.
It's
So you're going...
much appreciated. I guess now you know who I am.
Indeed. A trip, you say? Like, this shortly before the festival?
Well, I had it on my mind to go after I saw what I saw in the sky. But I'm not sure if it's the right time to go or I'm supposed to be doing something else. Or maybe I'm supposed to do that later. I'm not sure. But I just want to be prepared for anything that happens.
You've got me curious, like... You say the light in the sky inspired you to go somewhere?
Yeah.
Like...
Do you have some time? When do you get off?
Well, that would be later this afternoon, but yes, I might have time.
Yeah, would you like to have lunch with me?
Sure, that we could do that, absolutely.
Sure, guys, come out, there's, let's see, where are we? That silver place is around here. The silver,
Let me double check that.
the silver something. The silver,
Uh,
this, The silver lining.
The silver lining.
The silver
that's
lining
an inn indeed, but
is
that
over
is not too far.
over near
However,
here.
if you want to eat something, or because that's an inn, you stay there to sleep the night.
Yeah, but they have a decent brunch.
We should meet at the Heaven's Gate. That's an
the-
actual tavern, a drinking house.
Okay, all right, yeah. Let's.
It's not
Okay.
too far from here. It's
the
quite
Heaven's
close
Gate?
to the Silver Lining.
Okay. Yeah. I will meet you there. When you get off in about an hour and a half.
Will be slightly longer, but I'll try to be on time. Yes.
Okay. Well, how about 2 hours? I'll meet you there in 2 hours.
2 hours. Will do.
Okay, great. And lunch is on me. Let's have lunch and we can talk about what I believe I saw.
All right. That sounds intriguing. Now I'm really curious. Well, see you in 2 hours then.
Sure. Bye.
As you start making your way away from the vault again.
I am the type of person that always likes to greet a new friend with gift. So I, in that 2 hours, am going to find something small, like a pretty scarf or a pretty scent, or something like that, and have it wrapped in a small, to present my new friend with a small gift.
All right. So you make your way more to the market district, where you can find these things. Do you have any preference for any of the two? Because you could find both easily.
I'm actually going to go for the scent. I think maybe the scent might be something that she might use more often over a scarf.
All right.
So
you make your way to the market district and find yourself amongst all of these stalls. Find your way to one that sells different scents and that kind of thing. No worries. There's a dog barking in the background in the streets. Sort of.
It's Honey Bunny. I'm sorry.
That's perfectly fine. As in, the dog is following you around. So at that point, you find your way to a stall, and as you're going through some of the scents, you notice that some of them are, for some reason, as in you go by scent by scent, and you start to pick up that you're getting a lot of the scent of honey in there for some reason.
Okay, I get a honeyed scent.
You get a honeyed scent for Isa.
Yeah.
And after obtaining that, you sort of start making your way back to the temple district. And as we're zooming
I get it in a little box wrapped prettily.
We can do that. So it's wrapped in some papyrus with some almost thread more than wire, I would imagine. And you bring that with to the temple district. As we zoom out of that, I think I'm gonna call it for this week, since we're missing a player, and I would like them to get more involved for the next few things that we're sort of heading into. So, I want to thank you all for playing my plays, first of all, and all of the rest out there. Thank you for watching. It's appreciated that there's people who are interested in this. Thank you very much for that. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much, and see you around. Bye-bye.
Bye.